Yo, this is Deontay the Bronx Bummer Wild, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And I'd like to give a big shout out to CJ Goodfella, Sports TV. Bomb Squad, baby.
Don't forget to check out our sponsor, The Health Blaze, at thehealthblaze.com. 100% all natural products from lotions, soaps, foot soaks, bath bombs, and much, much more. Use the promo code Goodfella1Boxing. Tell them your boy CJ Goodfella sent you. Get 18% off. We out. All right, later today, you should be hearing at least seven PBC fights that's going to be announced. Let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And the thing about it is, the majority of these are going to be pay-per-view. Jamal Charlo and Sergey Derevchenko, that's going to be pay-per-view. Jamel Charlo versus Rosario is going to be pay-per-view. Not sure if that's going to be Showtime or Fox. And when they announce these 7 fights today, I'm not sure if they all going to be Showtime or some going to be Fox. But they announced yesterday through Coppinger that Leo and Tank is going to be pay-per-view October 24th. Danny Garcia and Earl Spence should be going on pay-per-view. So that's 4. And these are individual pay-per-view cards, I might add. So those are the 4 that we do know. So there's 3 out there that we don't know. And I got this from a really strong source that the majority of these fights are going to be pay-per-view. The reason they're going on pay-per-view is to make up the difference of not having a live gate and not having fans. Now, Tank and Leo will be going on at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. So that is where Showtime is doing their bubble at. Okay. Also remember that any of these dudes can contract the coronavirus and the fight can be off. So you've seen Top Rank cancel a few fights. The same can happen for Premier Boxing Champions. So I know out there in the West Coast, they fights are going to be at the Fox studio in LA. So I'm guessing that's where the Fox fights will go down there. So all 4 of those are going to be pay-per-view to my knowledge. Also hear that that Broner coming back in December, he said that already, versus maybe Red Cash. I heard that's a done deal though. It was another Erickson Lubin could be coming back soon. Lara can be coming back soon. So, at the end of the day, I know a lot of fans are excited, but they're going to be pay-per-view. And I'm not sure. I asked if they will have a reduced pay-per-view for these fights, and then, it's not known. So right now they're probably going to be the 80 ball, $75, $80. And I just don't think any of these are pay-per-view worthy in my opinion. And just as I said on Twitter, Top Rank set boxing back 100 years with those terrible shows, and people didn't understand what I meant by that. And what I meant by that is that people not gonna watch boxing like that no more. They turned off from the pedestrian. I won't even say pedestrian. The terrible shows that Top Rank got put on. No matter what their issue was they couldn't get the fighters because they wasn't in shape or the coronavirus. It just was it was rushed. And then when you got the UFC on the same network, producing pretty good card, and you producing this type of cards, they did terrible ratings. And hopefully yesterday was their last Thursday night and Tuesday night fights. But it was just a terrible show. I don't remember one memorable show. I remember some memorable fights on there. Joshua Greer and Magic Mike might have been the best fight I've seen. I hadn't seen them all. It's at a point where I even stopped watching them. All right, I didn't even care they was having fights on. It's not completely Top Rank fault. These fighters, should have stayed in shape, but it's hard to do when you're on lockdown. But now that they paved the way for boxing to come back, now we're here. Now, I don't know if Angelo Leo and Stephen Fulton is going to be a part of that announcement. If it is, that make it 5. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the other 2 or 3 were for these pay-per-view fights. So I thought I would have something this morning, but ain't really nothing leaked out. So I do know people say maybe Broner and Wilder and Fury. But would they announce a fight in December that's far off? That's the $1 million question. I don't think they would announce a fight. I don't think they announce a fight that far out. So I think that we thinking about the immediate future. So also you got Sean, you got Keith out there, you got Benavidez can be one of the fights out there they can announce. So that would give us 6. So it's one more mystery fight. So I don't think Benavidez and Fulton, I know that's not going to be on pay-per-view. So it's one more fight out there, But to put these fights on pay-per-view, The makeup, the live gate, to keep paying these guys, I just don't really get where we're putting the Charlos on pay-per-view at. I'm not buying it. I think that Derevchenko fight would have been perfect for like free Showtime or free CBS or free on Fox. That would have been a perfect platform for it. But PBC kill this boxing in its own different way. They come with a decent lineup, and then you put it on pay-per-view for people to pay $85, $80 for. I mean, who really gonna pay that type of money for those type of fights? I mean, they can stack the undercard all they want to. You know what I'm saying? I still don't think people are going to be attracted to a main event with the Charlos. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about us, but casual fans. And they're not going to promote it the right way as well. I mean, every pay-per-view they announce, I'm just not down with it. We can start off with Derevchenko and Charlo. Derevchenko, though, nobody know who he is. He fought Golovkin on his own. But to be honest, I mean, that's not a pay-per-view fight. These not boxing stars and pay-per-view stars. And like I said, I fully don't support that fight being on pay-per-view. I fully will, if I watch it, which I will watch it, think it should be a stream. That's a streaming. But to be honest, you may walk away with your bang for your buck there, because, that's going to be savagery at its finest. That's going to be a knockout, drag out, slobber knocker. You know what I'm saying? Because both guys got a chin, both guys can punch. And I think if Derevchenko, able to get on the inside, he can force Charlo into a war. So, if I had to say, value-wise, just strictly looking at the fight and the style matchups and not their status as boxing stars, I think this fight you're gonna get your bang for your buck for. I think if you do pay for a pay-per-view, it should be that one, because I just think that's gonna be the best fight PBC put on stylistically wise. And then you look at Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, two of the more unlikable characters in boxing. Leo's unlikable because he don't fight nobody. That's it. Nothing personal. Seemed like a cool guy, but he refused to fight the best. You know what I'm saying? And Tank, we know everything that come, the arrogance, the, editing film, sparring film. I mean, what else come with Tank? The incidents outside of boxing. He headed for self-destruction. He'd be happy to live to see 30 the way he living, and being alive or being a free man. He just ignorant. There's just no change in what that dude is. With a fucked up mentor in Floyd Mayweather, and then just growing up in the system. It's just I'd be surprised if he's seen 30 without being dead or in jail. And I say that I say that hopefully not. That doesn't happen, but I like, honestly, I like tanking this fight, but for like $85, $75, whatever it's gonna be, now I can't spend money on that fight. I think I want to see Santa Cruz get beat down and stopped and never fight again, but disabled by Tank. But to be honest, I can't pay $75 for that fight. Just not. You pay for these fights and you look at your cable bill, it'd be highest Gerald pussy, but that's not a pay-per-view worthy fight. If anything, that's a fight that should be showcased on Fox. Fox got $1 million. They can get Tank $1.5 million and Leo $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And put an undercard on there, that's okay. But they running it to pay-per-view, and like I said before, unless Mayweather buy like 500,000 buys or 1 million buys to pay-per-view, I don't see that doing well. I don't see them numbers coming back. So then you got Charlo and Rosario. Like I said before, man, people say Jamil Charlo is the biggest name at 154 pounds, but in the grand scheme of things, nobody knows who he is. All right, casual fans are not checking for Jamil Charlo. Good, talented fighter. Rosario was just fighting on Bounce TV not too long ago, and all of a sudden, he fighting on pay-per-view. He got some exposure on Fox. Charlo got some exposure on Fox. Only way Charlo can do a respectable pay-per-view in the pandemic is if, Tony Harrison. He fought Tony Harrison because of the background of the trash talking. But I think Rosario and Charlo are going to be a great matchup. If Rosario ain't a one-hit wonder, if he could take Charlo punishment, he can keep that pressure on him. We talked about it last night. I think that's actually, the Charlo fights got a good bang for their buck. I think those are the two best pay-per-view fights that they announced, as far as from a stylistic wise, as far as, what you're going to get. You're going to get action. You're going to get dudes hitting each other. I think those are the two you get your most bang for your buck for. If I had to pay for a pay-per-view, it'd be Jamal and Sergey Derevchenko. And if you had to give me a second pick, it would be Jamil and Rosario out to give him choices. But I do think that fight got the ability to be one of the best fights that boxing has put on in a long time as well too. But then again, these dudes are dragging these guys to pay-per-view to make up the difference. But what about building a brand? If you put these fights on free TV, you know what I'm saying, then, you might possibly drag them to pay-per-view. But it's at the point where, Top Rank is making up, it's shortchanging the fighters and paying them what they could pay them on Tuesday and Thursday. And Showtime, Fox, and PBC and the whole little promotional banner, they are basically saying pay-per-view is going to be our supplement or our replacement, for not having fans. But the problem is with them, replacing this for fans, is that fans wasn't buying the pay-per-views or they wasn't buying the tickets. A lot of times PBC gave away a lot of tickets, man, and Al Heyman will buy tickets out and give them to the casinos to comp their high rollers. You know what I'm saying? So people wasn't buying tickets to begin with, and that's the truth. So, when I went to the PBC event, the ticket was only $30. So it'd be interesting if they reduced the pay-per-view price. Then I think to $30 or $40. Then I think you get people that may be like, you know what, I may pay for it, I may watch it. But also you have to promote these fights. You got to have press conferences and stuff of that nature. And right now it's going to be hard to have those press conferences to promote the fight. So you talking about Tank and Leo coming back in October. You talking about Rosario and Charlo coming in late September. So, pretty much we at the end of July. So you really got, like two months, 2.5 months for Tank and Leo to promote the fight. You got 2 months to promote, almost 2.5 months to promote Charlo and Rosario. Not sure when Derevchenko and Charlo going to fall, but they all done. And then you got Earl and Danny. Like Earl said, he was getting the third post put in his mouth after the accident, and he was going to start sparring in September. So, if that holds up, I think you will probably won't see Earl until October, November-ish versus Danny Garcia. And once again, that's not a fight that should be on pay-per-view. It's not a pay-per-view worthy fight. That's not. Y'all, they want to force Spence to be a pay-per-view star. I get it. But that's not a pay-per-view fight. That's not a fight that I'm going to pay $85 to see. I think it's a good stylistic fight, and they were saying that behind the scenes that they tried to, basically, talk him out of, taking the Danny fight and taking the easier fight, but he wanted to take that fight. And they had their concerns about if Earl Spence would be healthy enough to get in the ring versus Danny Garcia. Earl Spence wanted to fight Danny really bad. So pretty much Al made it happen. You know what I'm saying? Al made it happen. So they tried to get Earl to take another route, but Earl gonna fight Danny Garcia. It's gonna be on pay-per-view. Not sure if it's going to be Fox or Showtime. I'm probably guessing it's going to be Fox. So, it's another fight. Like I said before, man, I think the intrigue is going to be how Earl Spence is going to look coming back from a car accident. It's not going to be, the intrigue is not going to be, how can I say it, the actual fight. The actual fight, we all knew that Earl Spence, without the car accident, was going to watch Danny Garcia. I think it's a good style for Danny Garcia. It's a guy that's there to be hit when he fights like he did versus Sean Porter. But with his reach advantage, he should just box him like he did Mikey Garcia. But I think Danny is going to take more chances than Mikey Garcia did. So, it's an interesting matchup just off the strength of Earl Spence not being 100%. So, I mean, four of those are expected to be pay-per-view. I'm not saying they're bad matchups, but those don't include one pay-per-view fighter that's a pay-per-view star. Earl Spence ain't a pay-per-view star. We know Danny has never been on there. I mean, looking at the whole card, it's only one guy that pulled the main event on pay-per-view before, and that's Earl Spence. So I did hear that Fox, will threaten to terminate Premier Boxing Champions contract if they don't deliver better fights and ratings. So not sure exactly what fight's gonna fall on Fox and Showtime. I know Leo and Tank is gonna fall on Showtime. Angela Leo, whatever his name is, and Foden is falling on Showtime. We know David Benavidez fight is falling on Showtime. And all their Showtime fights going to be at the Mohegan Sun. But it won't be 100% because these dudes got to test and all that other shit to, the fights to come on. So then, turning around, we got to see what's going to be on Fox and Fox pay-per-view. Right now, the budget isn't there. You would think that Fox need programming. I know baseball is coming back on this weekend. that they would love to have some of these fights on free TV. I just don't think the budget is there. So they answer to fans in the stands, or not having fans in the stands. It's gonna be, you know, paying whatever the pay-per-view price tag they gonna be doing. But to me, they don't deserve. They're not gonna get my money until they make the fight I want to see, and that's Crawford and Spence. And they shall not make that fight. They shall not get my money. So, like I said before, I ain't here to encourage nobody to or not to pay for these fights. If you got it, go support them. You feel me? If you standing on your power and your principles about boxing, not delivering the best fights and not paying for second-rate fights, then you stand with me, and that ain't. I don't think we have an issue with that. But you know, other than that, man, I mean, announcement should be imminent later today. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All the links in the description. If you got business, question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests, keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation to the channel, Cash App, PayPal in the description. Best way to donate is share the video, but financially, if you want to do it, Cash App or PayPal. One time for the one time we go.